How's it going? It's Grant, the Garden of Eater. Shelby will be joining us shortly. Today we are talking all about molting, shrimp molts. They've got to do it. How can we help them out? What kind of problems are you having? Ooh, it's going to be a rough one, I think. It's quite a chaotic day. We are getting ready for Aquashella, putting those last-minute touches up on the shrimp contest. Judges sheets just got printed. We just picked up the awards today, and also the plaques, which are also awards. So awards on awards. But we got a nice little live stream planned for you tonight. Shelby's just getting ready, but I'll go ahead and get started. So first off, let's talk about Dr. Anthony, new member. Welcome back. And you might have just lost your, your credit card must have expired, and maybe it had to be reset or something like that. But welcome back, and those of you that are a new member and haven't reached out to us yet, you can email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com, and we will send you a sticker, holographic, exclusive TGOE members only sticker, as well as a 10% off code to our website, TGOE. So, all right, diving into promoting healthy molting. Right away, my number one tip whenever keeping shrimp all around, and this helps with molting too, is keep things consistent. Get to a routine, set a schedule, and stick to it. If you have a day off on Thursday and every other week you plan on doing 20 to 30% water changes, well, make sure that you stay on that regimen and keep up with it. And if there are any issues in between, that you do take care of them. But for the most part, every other week, as long as you don't overfeed and nothing gets into the aquarium, there shouldn't be any issues at all whatsoever. So as long as you have the right parameters, doing the water changes should help take care of the molting just about all on its own. You will need a healthy source of food for them. If there's not enough biofilm, you'll have to add a commercial source of food. But for the minerals in the water going in, you need at least 4 to 5 GH. I strongly recommend at least 5, and I like to hit around 6 GH here at the house for Caridina and 7 for the Neocaridina. But the lower you go, the more issues you tend to have. There's a lot of people out there that are breeding in higher TDS and having a lot of success. We talked about this last week, or maybe it was the week before, or there's certain varieties of shrimp that might do better at like a higher TDS at like 220, like the super crystals or even the calcios. But, you know, there's might be somebody else that's having higher success chance that tried it at 220 and just wasn't able to get that working for them. But at 110, they breed like rabbits. So as long as you have that 4 to 5 GH, they'll have enough to molt, and then just dialing it in for your water parameters is what's going to get them booming, breeding, growing as fast as possible. And the only reason why it's not a finite science, and I can't just say, well, as long as you have this salt with this RO water, etc., is because there are things that are in the water that we do not test for, and we do not know how these are affecting the shrimp as they're molting, as they're eating, growing, breeding, etc. So until there's more research done on shrimp in a laboratory from a chemist perspective, and more water quality tests done and stuff like that all around, we're not going to have those answers. However, as technology advances and stuff like that, you're going to get some new things that come out, and they're going to find out that, oh, well, this source of water is super high in this element that I'm not even going to try and make one up and make me sound like an idiot. But yeah, there's possibly something that we don't test for, and it's affecting the shrimp. So right now, at least 5 to 6 GH, and then above that, you got to dial it in on your own. All right.
Bless you.
I do have allergic to you. That's just proof. I do got to go get a tissue though. So introduce yourself, and I'll be right back.
And Jeff Kane said better. Thanks for saving us. It's hilarious. Hello, everyone. I see a lot of people already in here. I'm assuming that Grant said, thank you, Dr. Anthony, for becoming a member again. And we were a little late. Sorry about that today. Pick the worst time. I gotta read everything. Yes, Coral, I was molting for sure. I actually kind of am because I got sunburnt, so I got I'm peeling everywhere. You gotta wear that sunscreen.
You're too silent. You gotta say
I know.
something.
I don't know how Nano even says she needs no introduction. Meet Shelby. No intro needed for her. She is the star of the show. Thank you, Scotty.
All right. So.
Racerback said he's been wearing the same shirt for 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure every week you put the same shirt on.
I never know what shirt I wore last Monday. It's so hard. I can at least remember what I wore yesterday, so I don't wear the same T-shirt. But as long as it's clean, we're good. And there is a lot of Aquashella shirts.
It really doesn't help that I wash them, and then that's what it is. I wash. I do
Somebody
laundry
double
every
check
day.
For me though. I swear last week.
No, you were wearing that one.
No, I swear last week was the shrimp.
No.
No,
that was during the video. Not the YouTube.
Well, we do have a new video coming out tomorrow, so if you're not subscribed and don't have that notification bell on, go turn it on because it is our nicest video I think that we've put out in a very long time, if not the nicest one yet.
Yay! Richard is registered for the Aquashella Shrimp Competition.
You have 2 more days left if you haven't registered like Richard. We just got the awards in. The plaques are super nice. The awards have some Sam Scales artwork on them, so you don't want to miss out on entering in this one. And we'll have another print for the following contest in Chicago. So you want to try and enter all of them to collect all of those Sam Scale print awards. Kind of upset myself I won't be able to collect them.
Coro said Grant's going to start changing shirts mid-video to simulate time passing. You know what's funny is that I'm pretty sure in the new video you have 3 different shirts on because it was
I tried to put on the same shirt for the intro. I
never noticed. So
I tried.
I don't know. We'll find out when I watch it again because now I'm curious. You should do that every clip one of these times. Just go back and forth from different T-shirts.
And then we also signed up for the international contest. Shelby entered 2 groups. I entered 12. 12.
You did not. I really need to watch him, guys.
Only a mere 12.
You cannot be unsupervised. Only a mere 12.
Maybe not 12. Maybe only 9.
That's still quite a bit.
I don't know. I think it's 12.
Everyone root for me. Hopefully I still beat him in one of the categories because we are facing off in one category, unfortunately.
2 categories.
Oh, 2 categories. Yeah.
Yeah, I entered 2 shrimp in the same categories that you entered. But I entered them first.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Vibes Aquatics, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Says hashtag same shirt from last week.
Is it really? Did we
yes,
double check?
I know it is. I know that's the one you were wearing last week.
I feel like you guys are ragging on me and I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shirts that look like this from Aquashella. They've got similar stylists.
No.
Don't tell me no. Double check first.
I am.
But we
same shirt. I think I'm wearing the same shirt.
Yeah. How you get?
No.
Sure,
we're good. I'm wearing a different one, but you're 100% wearing the same one. This is hilarious.
It's at least clean. Shelby does my laundry.
It's true. We have to pack, so obviously I'm doing extra laundry. You want to make sure everything's clean. We will get new shirts this weekend. Nice.
All right.
Richard said, "Is it a good idea to send large females with eggs, or is that a bad idea?"
So I like to enter females with eggs in the contest because they're always slightly larger, and it is a sign that the shrimp is the healthiest it can possibly be. So me as a judge I'm judging this contest, so I'm kind of giving you some tips right here. If it boils down to two groups of shrimp that have the exact same score and we need one winner, I'm going to go to the one that has 4 buried shrimp over the one that only has 2 buried shrimp, or you know what I mean? It's just, what is healthier than a pregnant female carrying eggs and like packed eggs? If she's only got 6 eggs, she's not trained enough to hold them all on, or the water quality wasn't high enough in the bag, or they could be a little bit stressed out. Just make sure there's a lot of water in the bag. Make sure there's some mesh in the bag or some moss in there for them to hold on to. And I like entering larger females with eggs myself.
Crypt Keeper said, "I just had some awesome s'mores ice cream with crispy graham crackers smushed throughout it." Welcome in, Crypt.
Sounds like some earrings my daughter got.
She's literally into s'mores now, too. And then I already forgot the rest. You can go.
All right. Well, we were talking about minerals in the water to help promote healthy molting. And by far my favorite mineral to date with the most bang for your buck is the Salty Shrimp GH+. If you're using that and you're mixing it to 150, make sure that you are mixing it long enough. 2 to 3 hours is not enough time. I highly recommend more than 8 hours. I'm not a very patient person, so what I like to do is mix all of my water the night before, get a good night's sleep, and then when I wake up, I drain all the aquariums, and by the time the water is needed, it is all prepped and ready, and it has enough time for all of the minerals to dissolve into the water column. And if it's a little bit too high, I add in a little bit of RO water. If it's a little bit too low, I add in just a little bit of salt to try and bump it up to the appropriate levels.
Scotty said, "What do you use for lids? Polycarbonate? How do you cut it? What thickness?"
Yeah, I think we have the 1/4-inch double polycarbonated panels here, and they're skin tight, and let's say that's about 1/4 inch.
They are.
And they are 4-foot by 8-foot panels that we cut down using a table saw. So a table saw with a guide is the best way to do it. And then, dividing the panels out to whatever width you need them, then length, and then, just taking into the account that the blade does have a size and it's going to cut away some of the material. So you are going to lose a little bit of it. So always count for blade size.
And thank you so much, Crypt, for dropping the link of the video we have of doing the lids.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's the video we did with Shelby's dad on the table saw, or if that's the video of me cutting them out with the little skill saw, jigsaw.
Anything works.
Yeah.
He says he has a circular saw. Those would work too. You just have to have the right table and be precautious with it.
Yeah. Take care of yourself with that for sure. All right. So the other minerals that we carry now on the website are the Plamsky minerals. Those you would not need to mix up nearly as long as the Salty Shrimp GH+, but I would still like to mix those up for a good hour before I tested it and then was comfortable adding them into the aquarium. Making sure that the temperature, though, matches up with the water inside the aquarium is always important, too, because too hot or too cold of water could also force a molt. And then when that happens, the shrimp could get stuck in it where, part of the molt comes off and not all of it does. And this will constrict the shrimp itself, and you can have serious injury or deformity or even deaths from the shrimp not being able to properly molt. And then I said the next most important thing was shrimp foods. For us, variety is key. Right now, we've got a plethora of shrimp foods on hand that we are currently feeding the house. We are using, of course, the Shrimp Envy Growth and Complete. The Complete obviously explains itself. The Growth is, however, a protein food, but then we also use the shell. The shell is the mineral food. This makes sure that the shrimp have all the nutrition needed in order to uh, shed their shell, molt, and grow up to the next size. Because what ends up happening with invertebrates is they actually never stop growing. So no matter how old the shrimp is, they're still going to molt. But what happens is when they're little tiny, they're doing the most growing. So they're molting way more frequently than when they're almost full size, because they're never technically full size until the day before they die, right? So they're going to just increase the amount of time between molting. So a lot of people say, well, it's, every month the shrimp molt. Well, a 4 or 5 year old shrimp are probably going to molt, every 40 to 60 days, because they're not doing a whole lot of growing to where they need to replace that shell. Um, but we also have the mineral junkie food that we use. This is one of my favorites. It smells like celery. It's nice and soft, easy to break up. A little bit of it goes a long way, and I'm not too worried about it. If it remains in the tank and it's still there the next day, it doesn't really pollute the water, and I've never really had issues where I've overfed it and the house kind of suffered more losses the next day or anything like that. So I highly recommend the Mineral Junkie and the Shrimp Envy Shell if you're looking for a mineral type food. We've also been using the Shine, and that is a Plamsky food brand that we're just now selling on the website. That is actually for after they're molting to help them, shine and look really good in their fresh new skin. And then we're also using the Rise, which also promotes healthy molting and a bunch of other things. And then his real mineral food is the Mineral X, and that will be like the equivalent to the Shrimp Envy shell. So we're alternating all of these foods in with our shrimp right now, and for us, again, it's just variety, making sure that your shrimp get a lot of different nutrition. They're not eating the same thing over and over again. It's okay if they're just in the aquarium with a bunch of other fish and community, and they're just getting fish flake food or something like that. But if you're looking to really get numbers on your shrimp, you want them breeding, you want them thriving. They all need different types of nutrition here and there, and even though some shrimp or some type of animals and creatures, they're only going to eat the mineral food as they need it or whatever. But the thing is, too much mineral food could actually be a problem if the more powerful dominant shrimp are in the aquarium eating up all the biofilm, and there's not enough other foods for it. When you keep feeding mineral food over and over again, that's going to be the only thing in that shrimp's diet, and they can actually overdose basically on minerals and not properly molt. So even though having a molting mineral food inside the mixed rotation is important, you can't just feed a mineral style food. And you can't also have bad water parameters and fix that by overfeeding them a mineral food. You're not going to get the same result, and you're going to end up in molting issues. Shelby?
Speaking of mineral food, Guppy Shack said, "Hi guys, I have high TDS. I have calcium stains at the water line. I have a low shrimplet survival rate and high white ring of death. Also brittle snail shells."
So brittle snail shells, for the most part, is probably not enough food. If they're dying off and then they're deteriorating, or you don't have enough minerals in the water, even though you have calcium stains on the water line, you can still get that with soft water. So a lot of people think that they have hard water, but for the most part, hard water is over 200 total dissolved solids. Here at the house, we get 170 TDS. Most people would not consider that hard water, but it's Florida. We kind of all have hard water in the fact that we all leave behind hard water stains in our showers. Up north, there might be some places where the tap water comes almost all RO water with very little minerals at all, and you won't get the hard mineral stains. But just because you're getting that calcium buildup behind the water line doesn't mean you have enough minerals in there. So it is a chance that the snails aren't getting enough calcium. And if you're having the white ring of death, chances are you might have like 3 to 4 GH or even 5 GH, and the shrimp would just be doing better with a 6 to 7. So it would help if you knew your total dissolved solids, if you knew your GH and your KH. And we could go from there in helping you out with the white ring of death. But I will be talking about that specific trait a little bit later. But right now we're talking about promoting healthy molts. So you got to take on the water changes situation. If you're not doing that, you need to jump on that. And then if you don't have a good food in your diet, rotation of your foods, that's going to affect the snails as well, not having good diet.
To me, snail shells usually become brittle when they're not getting a proper diet. We have snails in harder water, and there's a lot of people that raise them in harder water, but if they don't have the proper diet, which is more mineral content for them to eat, which we named several different mineral foods that we sell through Shrimp Envy to Plamski to Glass Garden. All of those are really good, and protein also helps a lot with these snails, but they definitely need a good diet on minerals to have a hard shell. Back to you.
So then if they're getting all of the proper foods, all the proper water changes, and you're still having issues, there is a problem with possibly having too many snails in the aquarium. There is a possibility with too much shrimp in the aquarium and just not enough calcium at all times. There might be enough calcium in the water when you first do the water change or right around feeding time, but maybe there are some shrimp in the aquarium that aren't able to eat when you put in the mineral foods, like our stardust and our raccoons. They're jerks, and I see that they're a little bit more picky on the specific foods. So if they're not getting enough protein, they're not getting enough minerals, one of the adults will grab an entire chunk of food and run off with it all on their own. So there is a possibility that some of the shrimp aren't able to get access to those foods. And one of the better ways to do that would be either some of the like mineral hearts or mineral balls, mineral leaves. On our website, we have the Glass Garden mineral hearts. Do we even have any of those left?
I don't know. See that?
Those might not be in stock, but check out Shrimp Envy. I believe they have them on their website. Not a big fan of using like mineral balls and stuff like that. They are also a thing, but I haven't really noticed any real signs of benefits from them. But if you're trying everything and nothing works, Hail Mary, maybe you should try them out. But to me, I've always seen them as kind of a waste of money, where the mineral hearts, you actually see those get eaten. It's like a really condensed type of like mineral junkie. It's made by the same brand. The mineral hearts don't really smell like celery, so it's probably not the same mineral makeup, but it does last in the aquarium for a couple of days. There isn't one shrimp that's going to be able to take this thing and hog it all for itself. There's also the calcium chips that Grant sells at Crayfish Empire. That is something that Grant, if you're watching, we got to get those on the website. I know we've been talking about that for a while, but when we were ready, you were going through some issues with your leg, and of course we were being patient. I think you might be ready now, but we were letting you get some time caught up on your website. But those mineral chips we were using with our rabbit snails, and the shell quality on those is just magnifique. There really isn't any adult rabbit snails that I've seen the same size as the ones that we have, And rabbit snails live for quite some time. We still have some of our originals that have the original shell damage, but you can tell all the new growth is flawless. So that product we've tried, and we're super happy with that. So we'll definitely be keeping the mineral chips moving on in the future from Grant at Crayfish Empire, not to be confused with this Grant, but Grant passed the Grant test. He's okay.
Alberta said, I heard that blanched spinach or stinging nettle helps with molting. I feed it regularly and haven't had molting issues for a long time now.
Yeah, there's a lot of calcium in both of those, so it does help out, but
they are in most of the shrimp foods. If you ever get shrimp envy, most of them do have like a spinach or a stinging nettle in at least one of them. So
yeah, definitely helps out.
Sorry, I got purging everywhere. Trying to soak up ammonia over here. Yeah. And then there was Abstract said, when you first started keeping shrimp, did a molt ever scare the crap out of you till the brain registered it as a molt?
No, because I had done enough research on shrimp keeping that I was kind of expecting the molts right away, but I was not ready for crayfish molts. Those on the daily, okay. Even when I knew that they could look like that. Literally, when crayfish molt, the molt itself looks like a dead crayfish. Mm-hmm. So it's like little mini heart attacks every time you turn on the aquarium right after a molt. So
is that the molt or is it?
And then you leave it in the aquarium and you don't tell Shelby, so she can have the same mini heart attack and freak out about it, because you can leave the molts in. They eat the molts, and
very good for
you
them.
don't want to take out the molts of the shrimp either, because they're going to eat those also to get that nutrition back, and it'll help them molt in the future. So the only reason why you would ever want to take your molts out is if you have a parasite and it's on the molt itself. The shrimp will actually shed its shell, and the parasite is going to stay on that shell until it dies, pretty much. So you can take it out, or it has the chance to pass on to another host.
And then Brian said, wonder shells, ? We've never personally used these. I probably would never use them because they're pretty big. Maybe out in our like outdoor ponds.
I wonder,
when we have,
who I do.
When
what would I wonder?
You're so when we have bigger, like huge population, but like just to put it in a smaller tank, it's especially, you don't know if you know your water parameters or they're not like super high, you maybe get away with it, but it does increase the hardness. So if you already have hard water and you put a wonder shell in there, it's going to increase the hardness and it's going to make it way worse. So I wouldn't recommend those. That's why we usually do the smaller pellets and the form and the food that we do, because it's just a little bit. You're not overwhelming the tank like wonder shells would.
They also sell calcium blocks. Like I think Zoo Med sells a calcium block, and some of the other brands and stuff like that.
See, I'd only put those in giant volumes of water.
If you go into any of the wonder shell, he'll also like go, well, what about breaking it up into little pieces and stuff like that? But like, I recall people using the wonder shells and talking about them online or asking questions about them, and you'll get like 60 comments, and maybe 4 or 5 will be about people telling how one wonder shell completely wiped out their colony or something like that. So I wouldn't use it, just because it's not needed. We've been keeping shrimp and snails for a long time and never had to have him. And why, if it's not broken, why fix it? Why use something that I think they also really just start to break down and dust up and cloud up your aquarium? I think that was the reason why most people don't use them after the first time they try them out. There's also people that feed like Tums to their shrimp. Like, just because it's got calcium in it, because it doesn't kill your shrimp, doesn't mean they need Tums.
Yeah.
Dum da dum dum.
You're gonna get us canceled. Stop with these sounds.
Is it back to me?
Yeah.
All right. So, feeding and water changes, that's all we really do with our shrimp here at the house. We don't add any fancy additives, no snake oil that we're going to try and sell you here in the next 5 minutes that's going to help you with your molting. Everything I just named with healthy water changes, recommending a mineral, and the mix of variety of foods. This is all very, very standard. Most of the problems with molting and stuff like that, some shrimp, everyone has their bad day, and sometimes that shrimp was just not good, not feeling up to the best, and maybe it's on its way out. There's all sorts of little tiny things going on with the shrimp themselves, like mini heart attacks and strokes and whatnot. If humans can have them, dogs can have them. Invertebrates and shrimp could possibly have these also. So even if you're doing everything right, ring of death or a hunchback or something like that could happen. It could just be genetics where 1 in 1,000 shrimp are going to get that and it's going to show up. However, if a ton of shrimp are showing it at the exact same time, then that is a sure sign that something is off. You need to check your parameters, make sure your GH, your KH, everything is up to date. Make sure there's enough oxygen and flow in the water. That's the next thing I want to talk about. Is if you do not have enough actual readily available oxygen, they can't get enough air, they can't breathe, they can't get that blood flowing, they can't get enough nutrients to where they need it, and they won't be able to molt just because of that. The larger the shrimp there is, they're going to have some issues. But if you're losing juveniles and not adults, chances are you have a molting issue. So you're going to want to try and look at, your GH. Make sure you're staying on top of your water change, especially if you're only losing the smaller shrimp, because, the smaller they are, the more they're going to molt. You're going to see the issues in the smaller ones first. So most of the time, if you're losing just a couple of shrimp, and they're all different sizes, that's a bacterial infection. If you're just losing juveniles and then maybe once a month you're losing one of the adults, then yeah, that might be a molting issue. So you want to make sure that you have enough flow in the aquarium, enough surface agitation to break up the molecular structure for oxygen to be reabsorbed by the water molecules and stuff like that. So filter flow, having an air stone in there, kind of helps sometimes also. You can use some of those oxidizers in a power outage or something like that. But for this many aquariums, it's not something I really recommend. But, even doing a water change, if your shrimp is stuck in a molt, will help it out. Giving it that fresh water, sticking an air stone into an aquarium if a shrimp is stuck in a molt or having issues. You'll see a shrimp laying on its side and it's just struggling to climb out of it. Other shrimp will even try and eat it before it's even dead because they know it's weak and it's struggling. And if they're hungry, they're going to see it as a free snack. So they're going to start eating their friend even before they're passed away. And if that shrimp is buried, they're going to eat the eggs before they even hatch. And usually the eggs are the first thing to go when a shrimp dies, and it's the best snack for other shrimp. So you got to make sure that there's proper oxygen, proper flow, proper filtration, and all that in order for the shrimp to have proper molt also. They can molt in, a stagnant environment with good plants and oxygen from them and stuff like that. But if you're having shrimp that are having issues molting, try sticking some flow or extra oxygen in there and see if that helps them out. I talked a little bit about the ring of death, and that's like a little tiny line between the head and the tail of the shrimp. If you're seeing it in a lot of shrimp, that's a problem. If it's just one out of an entire tank of 1,000, it might just be a genetic flaw. So I don't usually panic about it too much, and I don't usually cull them all the time because I've seen shrimp where they get the ring of death and then they go through a proper molt and it comes back. It's not necessarily a death sentence in every case, but they are going to need to basically molt to kind of fix it. So keeping them alive, keeping them on a good diet, proper water changes, and water parameters is definitely going to be needed to fix that one single shrimp. But if it's a bunch of shrimp, you're going to have to dial in and figure out what the problem is for sure. The other one is hunchback. Usually, hunchback, you'll see it. It's just like an arch in the shrimp where it can't flatten out like normal. Again, just like the ring of death. If you see one, I don't really panic too much, and I don't usually call them. But if you see a bunch of them, then that's a problem. I've never really seen a lot of camels or humpbacks in the tank. It's only usually ever one, because we do pretty much stay on top of everything that I just listed. So
I do want to say earlier how he was talking about oxygen. If you see signs of they need oxygen in the tank, will be the shrimp are at the very, very rim of the top of the water, trying to actually take in oxygen from out. I did see someone just post recently on one of our shrimp groups and was like panicking because she moved shrimp from one tank to the other so she could treat the one. She moved it to the other one, had no oxygen whatsoever in it, and all the shrimp climbed up onto a log and were out of the water because they're literally gasping for air. So they're trying to find some sort of oxygen. So it's a big sign that you're having issues in the tank if the shrimp are trying to escape the water. Brian said, I've been losing some pregnant shrimp lately. Any idea what that means?
again, when we talk about pregnant shrimp, they're the least hardy. They're always the most sensitive. They're always the first ones to die. So if there's something off with your water parameters, and the females are stressed out because of it, they're gonna, chances are they're gonna pass away. Also, they're kind of older than the other shrimp, so just like old people, the more stress you cause on them, the more chances that they have of something fatal happening to them.
Things to help with that is if you think your water parameters are correct and you're still losing pregnant shrimp, maybe due to stress, give them plenty of places to hide, and then maybe feed more. Maybe they're not getting enough nutrients, and try to switch up the diet. That could also be an issue because, it could be that they don't have enough nutrients to molt or do things like that. And then Zach says, do you guys have a whole house generator for the lights and pumps?
So we have a whole house generator that just pumps the pumps in a situation where all the power goes out. It can't pump all of the lights, and it only pumps the AC unit in the Nerf room. That's why there's a lot of the expensive and more the tiger species are in that room, is because when the power does go off in case of a hurricane or it just went out in the middle of the night, but only for like 2 or 3 seconds the other night. But everything, kicks back on. We go turn on, or if it kicks all off for a couple hours or whatever, we'll go get the extension cord. We have 7 Olitas that power the whole house. So it's really not that much power on the generator itself. And then we can, all hang out in the shrimp room that does have the AC. So there's no sweating.
Back to you.
All right.
Thank you so much, Abstract. Said Happy Mother's Day, and to the moms out there, Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers that are watching.
So the only other thing I had to talk about tonight's topic, pretty much dialed in everything that you need to do. So if anybody is having a molting issue and you want to talk about that tonight, I pretty much need your parameters. What are your total dissolved solids? What's your GH? What's your KH? How much water are you changing, and how often? And if you give me all of that, I can tell you why possibly you're having issues with molting. And, of course, besides all that, you have to be feeding proper foods that have good mineral content in them. So the Mineral Junkie, the Shrimp Envy Shell, the Mineral X, one of those 3 foods in your lineup There are other ones out there. It doesn't have to be one of those three, but something very similar to that. Feeding once a week is what we try to do. Is one mineral food, one protein food, and then the other two or sometimes we only get one or two other feeds during the week, depending on the food cycle. Is going to be like a complete or a plant-based food, either one of the complete foods, soy ahoy, or barley.
Or the feeding frenzy. Look at the blue package.
The food fight?
Food fight, thank you.
I stopped using that one
close
because
enough.
it was making me sneeze because of the soy in it. So
Mike said, "Can I feed peas to shrimp?" Yes, you could feed peas to shrimp. Now, I would say that because we've done that with the koi recently. Usually, you have to take the shell off, but I think the shrimp could probably eat through that.
I think you want to just break it open. Like, I think
Yeah.
the membrane itself on a pea is super hard to penetrate, and you just want to like smash it just a little bit, pop it between your fingers, and drop it in the aquarium, and it'll be all right.
I know someone else says, and most people do just like green beans, spinach, squash, and things like that.
So then we've got the last thing on the list to talk about, and that is molting with the eggs. First-time moms are notorious at just being bad at holding the eggs the first batch. So it's not uncommon for them to just drop all the eggs, absorb the eggs, eat the eggs themselves, or even just molt early, and then the eggs come off with the molt. Sometimes this is just going to happen because the female is just bad at holding on to the eggs or something like that. Other times that you've done something where you forced the molt because they weren't ready for it. You did a too cold or too warm or water change or something like that. And this can definitely cause them to drop their eggs. But I don't really panic or worry about it too much. Pop them in like a quick egg incubator. We've done a video on those. I like to just hover a net, one of the shrimp nets, above one of the sponge filters, and they just kind of bubble up and bounce around in the flow. And this keeps the fungus off of them, and you can hatch them out that way. It doesn't really hurt the actual adult shrimp at all. Crypt Keeper's got a question.
Just waiting for you to finish your sentence.
I'm sorry.
Crypt Keeper Aquatic said, "Do you know where shrimp food gets its testing for protein and mineral content?"
I don't personally know, but I believe Rob talked about having to send it in to be to get analysis of exactly the ash content, this content, and stuff like that. So I don't have a bag of shrimp envy on me, but I know on the back it's got like the percentages of all of that on it. So
I think, are you talking about doing your own food? I would
Yeah.
reach out to Rob and Renee or to Plansky, but because both of them do make their own food, so they probably would know where to get it tested at.
Yeah, but again, they're great people. I'm sure they'd be willing to help you out. So they'll be at the show, and you'll be helping us with the booth, and they'll be helping us with the booth. So if you're not already buddy friends with them, you will be after the show. I guarantee it.
For sure.
So we are all out of stuff to talk about. I don't know if Bugsy Craftworks was in chat tonight, but the stream was all because of you. Send us an email at thegardeneater@gmail.com and give us your email. I'm sorry, your home address, and we'll send you an all-exclusive Sam Scales print. Not exclusive, but a free Sam. All expensive paid. Sam Scales print, and yeah, it's been rough. We've been doing a lot trying to get ready for the show. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so of course I didn't let Shelby do anything. And then today it's wake up early and try and get everything done. But Yeah, thank you, Bugsley, and Bugsy, not Bugsley. And thank you. And can't wait to see you, Mike. I see you in the chat. New
Yes.
local Austin.
Can't wait to see
Will
it.
we be getting some biscuits and gravy? That is the question. That is the question I have for you. And if the answer is yes, what would you like me to bring you from Florida? So
I don't have good stuff here.
even if the answer is no, you want something from Florida, you let me know. I got you, Mike. But if anybody else would like to recommend a Zen Ginger just said SOS.
For you.
All right, I was just saying, is there a tank issue? Are we going to jump on a situation here and knock it out and solve it? But
You got too
I guess
excited.
But if anybody else has a recommendation that we can do for one of the live streams, please, please, please comment it in one of the videos, any of them.
Yeah.
Not in the one in the live screen chats, unless it's so good, Shelby's going to see it and then remember it for one of the following Mondays. So, and you will get your own Sam Scales print. So, I see Diego in chat. How's it going?
Steve our shrimp. That's funny. Yeah, we definitely didn't have a live stream topic earlier because we've just been so overwhelmed and we just like haven't sat down. Usually Sundays we sit down and think about it, but Sunday he was just worried about making sure I had a good relaxing day. So I wasn't thinking about work or something I had to do for YouTube or the business. So but then I saw Bugsy's comment at the last minute and I was like, oh, this one sounds good. Do you think you have enough to talk about for this? And he's like, yeah, so I threw the cover together real quick.
Well, I didn't. I tried. We're like 15 minutes shy.
I know. Next time we'll get it a little bit better.
It was a good segue. Now we have more time for you guys. So if anybody has any questions, anybody needs any help whatsoever, even if it's not about aquariums or something like that, let us know. We are here. We've got another hour to kill. Shelby is writing out all of the bags. So tomorrow we can go through, catch all the shrimp, isopods, snails, bag up all the plants and moss, get everything ready. All the dry goods are done tonight. And then, like Shelby was talking, we didn't really have a stream idea. And Crypt Keeper brought this up. And we have...
This is so funny, yeah.
One of Harley's tanks already that we were going to do for the show. But I didn't have enough time, and I thought that Shelby would need to read through the chat to talk to one of y'all, or else it would be really boring. We also need to get, some non-copyrighted music that I can play while we're aquascaping, so it's not just complete filters in the background. We need to plan ahead on that one for sure. But
I got plenty of this crazy person that's on YouTube music. That's some great music, but it's I don't know how to play it at the same time. Malcolm said, do wilds tend to grow larger?
Yeah. The wilds, they're just, bred different. They get a little bit bigger, they grow quicker, they breed faster, they're a dominant gene. Anything you breed with a wild comes out as a wild. And they do get a little bit quicker. They can withstand a little bit more parameters and stuff like that. So the shrimp, the Neocaridina with the backlines in general get bigger than the rest. It's not easy to get some full grown 3 centimeter plus blues and snowballs and stuff like that. They tend to just be a tad shy of 3 centimeters.
Richard said, Grant, what are your feelings on feeding Neo's BBS?
So frozen brine shrimp, go for it. It's one of those things where there's I don't know, they're going to get everything they need from eating another shrimp. So it doesn't really matter what species of shrimp it is. But I do think that it's easier to overfeed that and then foul up the tank quicker. So I would just be a little bit cautious with feeding frozen brine shrimp if they're live. If they're just live brine shrimp, though, I was going to cover both of them, okay? Cut me some slack. No. If they're live baby brine shrimp, then you just keep them in the aquarium, and then as one dies, I'm sure the shrimp are going to eat it fast enough before another one dies and really creates any of a problem. So.
Coro said, what color Neocaridina tastes best?
Bloody Mary.
That was a good answer. I'm glad you came up with that so fast. I would say chocolates.
Ah. I'll change my answer.
Actually, you know what would be funny?
Blue jelly would have been appropriate too.
Gross.
Blue jelly?
I would like the Bloody Mary more. Grant would like the chocolates more.
Chocolate latte.
Dr. Anthony, today was the first day of retirement. Woohoo! Did you have a party? Should have had a party. That's awesome.
We should get white Neos and call them white chocolates.
That's nice.
But congratulations, Dr. Anthony. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on your parade there, but I know it's not what you wanted exactly, but man, if anybody deserve a break, it's you. Even though you're probably just going to focus more on, other people and bettering their lives, and you're not going to be any less busy. I hope that one day the research center runs flawlessly and you get to take a breather and kick those feet back and take a break.
Megan said, for an outdoor IBC tote, would you cover it if it's going to get really cold? Worried mine might get below 40 Fahrenheit.
Not for shrimp. I'm assuming that you're keeping Neocaridinas. No, we don't worry about it at all. Our tubs outside get down into the 20s and 30s sometimes. Not the actual water temperature, but the
air,
the nighttime temperatures and stuff like that here in the county. So it's not really anything that I worry about. It's the natural gradually dropping of water temperatures and stuff like that it really isn't going to affect the Neos too much.
Scotty, the fish freak, said Neos in a tub, 20-ish gallons. Thoughts on fish 2 or no?
We have muck buckets outside, which I think are 16-gallon muck buckets, so less than 20. And we have rice fish breeding in a bunch of them. We have shrimp breeding in a bunch of them. We have shrimp breeding in buckets smaller than that. So if you have an air stone or you have a little sponge filter in there, really want to try out Corey's new sponge filters with the lift tubes. Get some of those running and stuff like that. You have one of those in there and cranking, yeah, you'd be doing some damage outside with some Neocaridina. Just make sure it's covered. Dragonflies are nasty little creatures that like to lay eggs in the water, and their babies will hatch and live as nymphs before they morph into dragonflies, and they can eat up to like 200 shrimp in 48 hours.
Ashley said, I always feel weird about feeding shrimp, brine shrimp. Like, here's your long-lost cousin for dinner. I find it funny when actually people, breed fish for a living. And I usually, oh, are you a cichlid person? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, why don't you try red cherries? They're a really good, effective way to feed your fish. Red's a really good coloration for your fish as well, especially if you do competitions. They look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, do you feed baby brine shrimp? What's so big of a difference here? You're still feeding shrimp. Hagen said sour apple shrimp. And then Abstract says, Grant, do you ever feed frozen bloodworms to your shrimp? I give it to mine as a treat.
So we've done it before in the past, but if we have frozen bloodworms in the house, we use so many of them on the newts and sirens that it's I'm not splitting them up and feeding them into the entire house of shrimp.
They still steal them though.
Bloodworms are not the cleanest food to feed. So, you got to flush them out. You got to, use tongs and stuff like that. And the less tanks I have to feed with them, the faster I can get my feeding done, the better. You can really go through the tanks and drop a bunch of shrimp food in. We use the tongs to get out the right amount of bloodworms, and there's always a slippery one that wants to fall halfway between the cup and the tank and falls on the lid, and then you got to get a paper towel and clean it up. We have too many tanks for all of that, so
messy. If we had fewer tanks, for sure, that was like our biggest source of feeding for like especially any fish. And if you have shrimp in the tank, they'll just clean it up. Crypt Keeper said, with Neos, if we mixed Blue Dream, Jelly, and Diamond in the same tank, would they start throwing wilds, or would they still breed all blue?
Because the blue jellies are in the mix, I think that you might be all right. I know if you cross Blue Dreams and Blue Diamonds, for the most part, you don't get wilds, but it's still a possibility. We've had enough people comment now on the Blue Dream versus Blue Diamond video that's crossed them, and they basically just end up with Blue Diamonds. With the blue jellies in the mix, I think you'll get a lot of like broken carbon release and stuff like that. A lot of like splotchy looking mix of blues, but you could also possibly get wilds. It's always a possibility.
Your black line?
What?
Your black line?
Yeah.
Okay. Alberto said, would it be possible to get Caridina shrimp adapted and breed in tap water with KH and no active substrate over many generations? I wonder if we are making high-end shrimp more fragile over time.
So I was just talking about somebody talking with this about. Oh man, I can't speak. I was talking about this topic today with somebody, and yeah, it's definitely possible. But like, you gotta drop those parameters slowly after one generation after another and stuff like that. I was also talking about how you can make bigger, and bigger shrimp to the point where one day you could be eating Neocaridina or like even Opaulas. Like Opaulas breed so fast. Like if you can get them for food grade, food size, that's a project right there. Somebody could retire if you could selective breed that for 30 years and you start off as a young kid. Like if you do that, cut me off a little bit of that Opaula money when you get there.
Justin said Skittles for the shrimp that would taste the best, but you would involve mini being in your mouth at the same time. And then Justin also put, and Little Red Riding Hoods would taste best to the wolf at least. Justin said, do you have any heaters in the totes?
We don't do any heaters outside here in Florida, and we don't do any chillers. We do have a video on how we set up our outdoor Neocaridina tubs. It's like one of our best videos just because I think it has like some of the most views. And then it is, the blueprint. It shows everything. There isn't anything we don't do in that video. So I think one of the things that people appreciate with our content is there's no extra BS. I don't lead you down the wrong road. I don't try to sell something that doesn't work out. You're going to see something like on the website already. If you go check it out, there are a few things that are there, and it kind of seems like we're selling stuff that we don't use. But trust me, we're using it. I'm very happy with it. I've seen it in play for quite some time now. And I think that the video that we're putting up tomorrow, it's going to make a lot of sense, and a lot of people are going to be excited for the end results. Mostly me.
Sorry. I wasn't reading.
It's all right. How can you read when you got this stuck in your hair?
I'm done with you.
I don't know how you can focus. What do we have here tonight, Shelby? We've got the cure. Not the cure for your bad hair day, but if you're ever... It was a joke because it came out of your hair. Come on. Shelby takes things too personally. But Just recently, we acquired a shrimp room. It is Plamski's, and he has a variety range of products. And the one that we were able to get the most familiar with first is the Cure. And I'm going to talk about it because I think a couple people might be getting some shrimp this week, whether it's from Aquashella or even if you're getting your shrimp back, there is a possibility that the immune system gets compromised. You might have a bacterial infection or something like that. Before, I only used to recommend heavy water changes and throwing in some Indian almond leaves. Well, now Plamski has an antibiotic that works great for shrimp. We were having issues with a couple of the colonies that we brought over from Plamski. No matter how many water changes I did, no matter how many almond leaves or botanicals we threw in there, I just couldn't get ahead of the deaths. And after 3 days of doing this, we did follow through with the entire 7-day regimen. But after 3 days, all 5 tanks that were having issues stopped having issues. And there is babies now in those aquariums from shrimp that weren't even buried up. So I'm super excited to have this product on the website. Super excited to say we will have this product with us at Aquashella, and it's going to be a good show. I'm excited for everything.
Don't just come from like imports. Bacterial infections usually tend to come from your substrate. That's why we like the Malaysian trumpet snails a lot, because they do help a lot with that, because they go in and filter and eat all the crud in your substrate. Where if you have planted, like we have some tanks that have rooted crypts, and like they're in there. They're huge now, and I would not dare to pull out those if the tank was full of shrimp, just because you're going to be pulling up problems and it could cause a bacterial infection. So
but
it's
also,
as simple as that.
If the immune system is going through, quite the obstacles, and they're being shipped from here to there and new environments and stuff like that, a little bit of stress on the immune system can also cause a bacterial infection. So, yeah, it's a great thing now to have in the medicine cabinet. We got ourselves a big old bottle to keep at the house because we'll probably be getting some new shrimp here in the future. So I'm looking forward to it.
Coro said, Grant, is it a myth that some shrimp lines are colored in the flesh and some colored in the shell? How does that work? Can you get double coloration?
So I think what you're talking about and referring to is going to be the Bloody Mary shrimp, where the whole myth of the Bloody Marys is that the actual tissues or flesh of the shrimp is a reddish tint hue coloration to it that gives them an even deeper, darker coloration of red. That's not true. If you were to take a surgical blade and splice a red or splice a red cherry or a Bloody Mary right down the middle, they're all going to look exactly the same in the tissue content and the flesh. The pigment itself is what actually can be double layered, but it's not really something that happens with the Neocaridina, but with shadow pandas, shadow bees, Taiwan bees, they can actually have where 2 layers of pigment overlap one another, where the cells themselves are displaying multiple colors. And it's not, they could also display the same color and be super dark and super thick, but it's not really something that is the thing with the Bloody Marys. That's a myth. The short rostrum is a myth. That's why you got to know your genetics. Honestly, all a Bloody Mary is just a red cherry that came out of a dirty line of black rose or chocolates. And instead of calling them red cherries, they call them something new to get more sales. They look the same as fire reds.
The heck?
What?
I don't know why that's coming up from Malaysian trumpet snails. I guess that's the real name. The way you said Bloody Mary, what did you say? Bloody Mary shrimp? I don't know. The way you said it sounded like a name. It was hilarious. Sorry. I can't even remember it now because I got
Rostrum?
distracted by red-rimmed Melania. That's just so weird.
Rostrum?
No.
No.
It's the way you said Bloody Marys, but you said it together and then another word after it. So it sounded like a full name. And I'm like, who is that?
No.
Crypt Keeper said, Shelby, if you had a perfectly cylindrical vase around 1.5 gallons, what would you stock it with? I guess I'll let Grant answer too, even though we know it will be shrimp. It's going in window at work.
We have one, and we never stocked it. It's just in the closet.
What are you talking about?
We won those UNS little
That does not
bases.
have.
The one tall one's got to be 1.5 gallons.
No, not even close. They're so tiny. They're for plants.
Well, still.
So honestly, no fish are good in there.
Isopods.
Can you stop?
He asked Grant. Oh, I'll let Grant answer too. Okay, I'm sorry. After you, Shelby.
Frustrated because that's what I was gonna say.
Well, I didn't want you to say it first.
I was gonna say that I used to actually put beta fish into like 1.5 gallon tanks, and I just noticed they don't really do well, and especially all the beta people will come for your throat for sure. But isopods are pretty cool. Like I absolutely love them, and to put them in the window, like our isopod tank moved from the corner like adjacent to the window. Now it's like right in front of the window, and they are thriving and doing so well and loving life, and they're so cool to watch just like squirm around the tank. Not everyone's gonna like them, but it's just got to be what you like anyways. They'll be cool though.
How's it going, Skipper? Guess whose magnets just went on the refrigerator today? Not like I was like procrastinating that or anything. I just forgot I had magnets. And I picked up the stickers, and I was like, why are they so heavy? And I was like, there's magnets in there. Because we were just going through all of our show stuff, getting ready for Aquashella, and saw the bin had stickers in it left over from the NEC show, because that was the last one we did. So we're only just now unpacking the dry good bin. Glad there wasn't any wet goods in there.
Eric! Haven't seen you in a while. I haven't been in like any videos because I just now got a new phone, still programming, still downloading like half the stuff that I got to do just to keep like our website and YouTube going. So I have not watched a single YouTube lately, but I will get back to that. My phone took a dive into a pond a couple weeks ago. I thought it would be okay because I do take them swimming all the time. I do my underwater videos, but it has had its
Twinsies.
It's had its time, and all the water got into the battery compartment probably because like my cameras were all messed up, front and back cameras. And the next day it completely shut off and made me panic. But then I put it in rice for a couple days, came back on, but would go off randomly. So it was definitely time, but that's been like a fun 2 weeks trying to figure it out because it was just playing games with us.
And we went and got our new phone, and the rep was like, is this a Mother's Day present? And I was like, no, but it is if it helps with the price. We're like, no.
Oh, that's funny. There was only a deal for like a tablet, and she's like, oh, we already have it. And I'm not paying monthly for a watch. You're crazy. Mike said, what shrimp do you find the most interesting to watch?
I would say the Stardust.
No, those are my
when
answer.
I feed them, they get the most rowdy.
Yeah.
But if I just have to sit there and watch a shrimp, it's the Kiwis, because I'm like, don't you turn green or black. I'm sorry. Don't you turn black. And I'm just like, don't you do it. And still, it hasn't turned black. And then even in the photo that I posted the other day, Shelby's like, oh, it looks like it turned into black. And I'm like, don't you say that?
It's getting darker, which concerns me.
No, because I know what you're hitting at. And no.
But it's almost fully mature. Where at this age would have been solid black already. So I'm just saying it's getting darker than I want it to get. So I think it's going to get like dark green, like a green emerald almost, which is great. Everyone's going to love it, but I want that lighter. So we're going to have 2 separate tanks so that the darker ones go in one and the lighter ones go in the other.
Well, did you see my other photo that I'm gonna
No.
post? No.
Why would I see that? We don't talk.
I know.
This is all.
I
This is
have
all
the
live.
upstairs story, and you have the bottom stairs.
That was so fun. We actually had a couple that we were talking to yesterday, and he's like, "I have no idea what's going on in her life. I live on the top floor, and she lives on the bottom floor." Oh, that's pretty.
It's probably not even the better picture, but
That actually looks like a tangerine
green.
tiger.
Well, it's got tangerine tiger in it. Okay. Gosh.
But yeah, definitely the Stardust are the most interesting just because they're savages. I have a funny video on my original TikTok with the turtle for the picture of the Stardust fighting over food. It's hilarious. Raccoons also do the same thing. They're a little feisty. I feel like the more wild type shrimp seem to be more like that than any of the hybrid shrimp. They seem pretty peaceful and that's interesting. The colors are pretty, but not as fast or crazy. Oh,
the
those look ridiculous.
are like hoarding in a circle.
Yeah.
And they're just going around and around. But there's so many of them. It just looks like one of those walls at the aquarium where the school of fish are going around. It's cool. And they only do it when the algae's on the sides. It's the only time they feel comfortable. So I can't even get a film of it. They're so annoying.
Johnny said, I have a newbie trying the shrimp. I was on your site, was checking out your new products, but my friend reads without understanding it. Will be nice to explain each of the products for newbies.
I think one time we can go through the website and do that and do that.
Yeah.
I will try to remember, Johnny, but you should really comment that down below if you want the credit in the future.
Yeah, we will remember. Like, we go to bed, we wake up in the morning, and we're like, did we do the live stream yesterday?
and
we're both terrible.
Also, be honest, we got to get a little bit more familiar with some of the new products coming out, too. So,
yeah, if you're looking at the website and some of the new products are on there, those are not the prices. They're just on there. Don't look at those yet. Give me a couple weeks for those to get up to date.
I'm not giving you a couple weeks. You have 2 days when we get back from Uncle Show. I'm counting Monday.
He's for sale. Honestly, I'm a pretty cheap negotiator here.
The expense isn't up front. It's after.
And
back to me.
Yeah, you got something to say.
No, I was just going to talk about the shrimp contest. We've got 2 more days if you guys want to sign up and enter for that. Anybody has any questions, you can let Shelby know.
Pre-order. Please send me the order. Not this one.
You can place a pre-order on the website, though.
Yeah,
and in the notes, just put hold for Aquashella, and we can refund the shipping costs if you don't spend $100, or we can throw in extras.
Yeah, $15 worth. Justin said an ETA on when the Black Rose will be ready.
Now. Right now. Shelby didn't want me to say that.
No,
I'm not going to put them on the website. He can email me, and you can buy them on PayPal, or you can wait until you get back from Aquashella, and then we'll go up on the website. Shelby didn't want to oversell them while we're at Aquashella, so.
Nathan said that's the cure for you sleeping on the couch. And then Jen said,
this, and we're good to go.
This one's so funny. Jen said, yes, Grant, after insulting your wife, the go-to should always be calling her sensitive.
It only builds her up and it makes her stronger.
Hagen says Shelby never has a bad hair day. I don't have them as
told
frequently.
You. See, I'm not the only one. Sometimes she's like, I look like a Pomeranian.
It's actually not as bad anymore with the new conditioner, but I grew up my whole life on dechlorinated shampoo, which just dries it out. And I look like a scarecrow.
Shampoo.
A what?
A new shampoo.
A new.
He said a new conditioner and a new shampoo. They're really doing wonders.
You're weird.
What? Science has really come a long way. Why do you think they're always so slimy when you pull them out of the water?
Coro
Now it's the
said,
same texture as your hair.
I wanted to find out how far away Neocaridina shrimp were from brine shrimp, but it turns out even brine shrimp are really distant from brine shrimp. Well, that's interesting. Okay, Razorback says, anyone know if cure is safe for baby fish?
I can ask that to Plamsy.
And we do have carbon really as well, Justin. So both of those are not on the website because, to be honest, I don't want someone ordering like 60 carbon really because that would be insane. We do have quite a bit of carbon really and like carbon really coals. I've been wanting to put those on the website, but I usually just bring them to the shows. Excuse me. How long lives the cure? Abstract says, when will you pull ice cream for Shelby's hair? Oh, that would be terrible. Jeff said Zen will give Shelby permission to smack Grant anytime she feels the need, or just
If
for
you
fun.
could grow your hair out so I could hide a freezer in here for ice cream. You just gave me such a good idea.
Megan says, I need that before I try Sulawesi again just to be safe. It's not a bad idea. You could use it as a preventative. I guarantee
The cure?
Yeah.
I wouldn't use it as a preventative.
You don't
Definitely
think so?
have it in case something starts happening.
Well, what
Rather
if there was
than
a
using
bacteria
this as a
in the
preventative, I would use our shrimp fit. It's got the beta-glucan in it to help boost the immune system so that you don't have this issue.
All right. Plus, she said, what would be the basic things you need for a water change?
So, basic bottom line, you need a hose. You need something on the hose. Basic would be like a sock and a rubber band, right? And that prevents the babies from getting sucked up, and a 5-gallon hose. You could technically use that same hose and 5-gallon bucket with some gravity and fill the tank back up. Then you need either tap water with some prime if you're using Neocaridina and you have the right minerals in your tap water. Otherwise, you need RO water and to get the proper minerals for the proper shrimp that you're going to keep. And that's pretty much all you need, and some patience. You're going to want to make sure you have time for the water to sit and settle to get to the proper parameters of the tank so that they match up. And then there's no stress on the shrimp when you do your water changes.
Ashley said, moving next week and ordered some cure from y'all. Have to tear down multiple tanks up with shrimp. I know it's been asked before, but what are the signs of bacterial infections in shrimp?
So usually you'll see a little tiny like milky buildup in the body of the shrimp. There are some shrimp like Galaxy Pintos and Tai Bees where you won't be able to see that. But at nighttime, if you turned on a black light for Neocaridina, for ghost bees and other shrimp like that, you can turn on the black light and the entire body of the shrimp will glow. Be careful though, because if you feed Mineral Junkie, it almost does that to the shrimp too, because like it fills up their entire body with a white substance as they're digesting it. So we want to be careful and not freak out. But muscular necrosis is what that white milky tissue buildup is. And that is a sure sign of a bacterial infection. The other one is, not having any of the molting issues that I mentioned and having deaths. So you're getting maybe 1 to 2, maybe 3 shrimp at tops dying a day and not entire colony wipeouts. The more shrimp you have, you could possibly have more than 3 or 4 shrimp die a day. But chances are, if all of your parameters are on point and you're up to date on your water changes, all your food, everything else is going good, and you're just losing 1 shrimp a day, chances are there's a bacterial infection, and you just want to get ahead of that. Use some Plamsky cure to get a hold of your immune system, and it'll help fight that bacteria infection.
Bugsy said, I heard that Bloody Mary have a super short rostrum. What is the cause of a short rostrum? Just another trait? Question mark.
Yeah, it's just a genetic defect. Just like some people have a butt chin and some people has a nice smooth chin. You know.
Sometimes I've actually seen short rostrums and molting issues too, like where they didn't, because their nose also molts, and I've seen people like have their shrimp stuck molts on their face, and it caused them to have a worse rostrum. I can't pronounce
Yeah,
that.
but if you look at a Neocaridina colony, red cherries, or Bloody Marys, you'll see a mix of short, long, medium. There really isn't anything that is going to affect that other than genetic variety.
Hagen said, you have such an amazing knowledge of shrimp.
You got to have knowledge on something, right?
I say that I like your logo. That looks so cool because it looks like fish bones, but I see that it says HHD for Hagen Hill Design. Looks cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think I said that last time, but Mike said, how many different shrimp species can you have in the same tank without crossbreeding issues?
All right, so let's do this one. In a Neocaridina style setup on the low sevens, all right, I could keep Malala shrimp, Neocaridina, a tangerine tiger, raccoons, stardust, and galaxy tigers, leopard tigers, and hummels all in the same aquarium. I can only get you 5 of those, maybe 6 if you join the wait list and are very, very, very patient with me. Warning, Luke Wang has been first on the wait list since AGA, if not longer, 2 years ago, and he still hasn't gotten any. So they're not an easy shrimp to breed and crack, and because I'm the only one with them, I kind of hold on to them. But so far, nobody has really been able to confirm any crosses with Stardust or the raccoons, galaxy tigers, hummels, or the leopard tigers. I'm sure there's quite some more because you could also keep Amanos, and there's like 2 or 3 different varieties of Amano shrimp. They are aggressive.
You need a huge tank for all of these, by the way, just because colonies seem to take over the more aggressive the shrimp is or the more they're breeding, because it's just like if you were put in a small room with 10 people and you see one pile of food, you're going to gang together and, wipe out the other people, obviously, fight for survival. So that happens in shrimp tanks as well. That's why some people don't have good breeding with multiple different species, but it'd be fun to see.
You can also throw the red-nosed Pinocchio shrimp in there, so I can get you to 10 if you, want to hook me up with the person bringing those into the United States. But till then, I can only get you 5.
Nathan, member for 14 months. Thank you so much. This feels good to be back to be a member. Thank you.
Back to be a member. So were you not a member and then you joined
card
back?
Expired, yeah.
And then you go back to 14 months?
Mm-hmm.
So if you stopped for 2 months and then you come back, do you get back on the 15 months?
Yeah.
I always assume that
it has to be so many days.
I always assumed that it just restarted.
No.
Oh, interesting. Learn something new every day. Almost made it a whole day without learning something new, though.
Hey, so gotta find some good smack sound effects.
I mean, I can make some.
Oh, yeah. It's so funny when I tell the kids all the time, I'm like, Daddy hit me, Jaden. To have him come in and, did you do something to my mom? He's so cute. And it's always just him doing this, clapping.
I'd do it, but a lot of people would be upset. It's loud.
Yeah. Yeah, and some people are using their headphones. I'm surprised you don't get loud as you. The recent video Grant, which is so weird. You use these mics every time he goes and does a talk in public, but I guess you get to test it. You can actually like hear yourself. But we used mics, and Grant is a very loud person, and I wasn't thinking of it. He wasn't thinking of it, and the audio is a little loud. I actually had to definitely quiet it down, like half half the decimals it was at, and it's still pretty loud. And then Justin said, "Is it good to use aqua peat soil and neo filters?"
It's just not needed, and you're gonna make brown black water for no reason. So I would not use it.
It also, I mean, it really depends on how hard your water is. If it absolutely needs to be softened a little bit, but most of the time, neos don't want their water soft. So to put peat in there.
The water at the Florida State Fair is so hard, and the neos love it.
Yeah.
The kids' shrimp came back buried, and their tanks are booming with babies from just setting them up in February, and we're only in May.
Hagen said, "What's the biggest tank that anyone here has kept neos in exclusively?"
A 16,000 gallon pool, but that was only for a short amount of time until we put the koi back in. But
we got wilds in there, still a neo.
We got 55 gallon tanks right now. Yeah. That's about it. But I'm sure there's other people that have had way bigger tanks for just.
We had a Caridina tank that was 190 gallons. That was fun.
It had some red cherries in it too, but it mainly kept the tangerine tigers and crystal red shrimp.
I thought it was funny because it was a beautiful one, huge 190, and all these shrimp preferred the sump anyway. So they didn't even care. They do not. That's a funny thing I notice a lot of people say. They'll have this really nice tank, and then the shrimp just crawl right into the canister filters and then produce by the thousands. They really don't care about room.
Somebody messaged me and said that the shrimp are breeding in their floor drains, basically a sewer. Or septic.
Oh my goodness gracious. Zach said, "Are you familiar with the Green Hulk Neo? If so, do you think they are a green emerald variant?"
I've seen shrimp renamed so many different times. If the Green Hulk Neo is the one with the orange eyes, then it's probably different. But almost all of the green shrimp that could possibly come out at this point would come from either green emeralds or green jade lines. So if they're deep and dark and green in coloration and don't have the yellow stripe down it, I would say that they're a green emerald variety. It's just like the ocean blues. They're just a blue diamond. There's really nothing that's going to come out on the market for Neocaridina wise that's the same color that's going to be anything different or new. The only thing that's going to be coming out that's going to be game changing or totally different for the Neocaridina are the tricolored ones, the kois, the sunburst, like the Spider-Man style shrimp, or like some purples, or somebody did some fluorescent pink, neon pink shrimp that weren't dead shrimp. That'd be it. Got something else for me lined up.
Bugsy said, "Did you guys see anything new and exciting at the recent show?"
So the recent show that we had just done at North Carolina, right? That was the most recent one. No. What did we?
Connecticut.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. I was thinking Connecticut and said North Carolina.
Or that's the next show after Dallas.
Yeah. So nothing really cool and exciting. We did get to see a talk done by one of the researchers in Mexico who was working with some of the Gadeids and reintroducing them from what was once an extinct species in the wild. They take the fish, they put little tiny fish tattoos on the fish. They release them into the area habitat that they've gone through and helped clean out, whether it was remove trash or helped with the pollution on the river itself, to where they felt that the fish were safe to return back to that habitat. And they release the fish and then go back and try and catch them again. And any of the fish that were caught with the tattoo, those were the original fish. And any of the fish that were caught without the tattoo, that was a good sign, because that meant that the fish were reproducing. And then they were also looking in different parts of the river, further downstream, different bends and stuff like that, where they were also trying to catch the fish. And they can see that the numbers were increasing to the point where they are actually venturing off and establishing different colonies throughout the riverways and stuff like that. So very, very interesting methods and stuff like that. Learned a lot on that talk. It was one of the only talks that I was really able to watch. So like that was really the only thing that we got to watch and see and get excited about. It's cool to see stuff like that.
Yeah. Nothing really new. There was a cool like reptile person that actually had the aquatic snakes there too. That was pretty cool. But they said that they were feeding it cat food.
No, that was the caiman lizard was getting fed cat food that I
Oh,
also
okay.
wanted. But
Yeah, but on cat food,
yeah,
that's
cat
so
food
bad
is
for
like,
them.
yeah, Tom Crutchfield talks about like, don't brag about your reptile eating cat food. That's not what it's
It's not
supposed to be
nutritious.
eating.
Yeah.
You'd be a lot better off going and getting, one of the seafood buffet style packs of, human consumption safe seafood, and finding a variety that the caiman would eat, and it'd be a lot healthier for it. Or my all-time favorite, smash up some snails and give it its real diet.
Yep. You don't need to smash them up. That helps
You don't?
with them. No. They eat them. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Just having fun with it though. Justin said, does Mineral Junkie help with shrimp molting, and is it also good for invertebrates like snails? Absolutely. I would say Mineral Junkie is one of my favorite things to feed all the snails and the shrimp, because it does help with the molting, and all the snail shells do incredibly better with any type of minerals, whether it be the calcium or the different types of minerals that they have.
And in a pinch, it even solves Shelby's craving for celery.
Stop making people think I eat this shrimp food. Hagen Hill Design said, we only have one 10-gallon tank with shrimp in it. We're going to have to fix that.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know, but I'll let you say it since you wanted to.
And no, you were going to say it too, all right? Yeah, we don't know if you knew, but you do actually have homework on this channel. It is a requirement to get, at least 10 aquariums a year added on to get a passing grade. Passing grade, what does that mean to you? That's what the requirement is for. So, to each their own, but we do have some scholars from last year.
Richard said, how come Nick hasn't put out the video tour of your place?
Because he was here for 3 days. He was at Lucas's house for half a day and still hasn't posted Lucas's either. So I imagine that it's a lot of editing and putting things together, and there was a lot of shrimp information that I forced down his throat, whether he wanted to listen to it or not. I gave it to him on the tour. So it's probably a lot of tedious information, and he can only do 30 minutes a day before he's just like, this is enough shrimp stuff, and I got to go do something else before he absolutely loses it. So, yeah, I'm not sure exactly when he's going to post that or anything like that, but
I also think he's not trying to pile them all together, that he likes to have a variety of content, and summer is the busiest time for him to get it content and what he said. And it's more of the winter time where he does his longer videos that people like to sit and watch him, because there's more people in the home during winter time. So they sit and watch longer videos. So I'm assuming that tour videos, as long as Lucas's and our house, is going to be out more towards winter. Ow. And Only Oscar says, why is it always hard to find your website? I don't know. Some people type it in wrong, or I don't know.
I think you might be looking for the Garden of Eater, and our website is tgoeshrimp.com. You know it's confusing. It's something we've wanted to get solved for a while. We own the gardenofeater.com. It's just our website, the way we have it all set up, doesn't accept two
Both
domain names. So we have to make the whole switch over all at once. And we're trying to figure out a way to make it to where if you search tgoeshrimp.com, it still brings you over to the right website.
I have to
We'll
like
own
work
both
with
domain
Google or
names,
something.
but what's that?
I have to work with Google or something to make it work.
Yeah,
It's
if anybody has Big
something
Commerce and they know how to do that and they can help us out with
the
that,
people
that'd
from
be
Big
awesome.
Commerce don't know how to do it. The
Yeah.
people using Big Commerce most likely are not going to know how to do
But
it.
if somebody else has figured it out,
Yeah.
you know, throw a dog a bone.
Dr. Nancy says, what categories have low numbers of entries? We don't keep
The
track of
orange
them like
eye morphs
Did it?
are definitely the lowest in entries. Tomorrow, though, I will piece together how many were in each category for my latest update, and I can make a post on that. But the orange eye morphs were the lowest, and the only one that I was really concerned about. Taiwan bees is another one that doesn't get a lot of attention. But I know Neocaridina and the Tai bees are usually pretty full. Not full, but like one of the more populated categories. Are you going through that now?
that. Yeah, I was trying to find it.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about it. The orange eye morphs is the only one that was low. Just pull up that. I'll read it. You can go back to doing what you're doing. So Ashley asks, I followed Grant's advice and put fish in a tank to get rid of isopods or scuds. How dare you get rid of the isopods with the fish if that's the answer. But I think he meant scuds. He had Calabularis. I can't pronounce that. Worms after 2 months in a tank, using XLP and Parazzi Pro now. Would it be safe to put shrimp in after? I would definitely check the cycle to make sure that there's no ammonia or nitrites or anything like that. If you do have some ammonia buildup, I'd definitely wait for your levels to go down, because killing all those worms off also takes a little bit of a hit on the beneficial bacteria in the filter itself. So you want to make sure that it's not an easy task, because you also got to worry about double orders. So that's why I didn't think that we were going to have enough orange-eyed morphs, but then found out somebody placed 2 groups in that one category, so we had enough just for that.
Welcome in, Stephen P. Dr. Anthony said, what is the website to enter the contest?
Aquashella.com. You have to go down to Dallas and then go down to contest and then pick on the shrimp contest, and then everything you need to know is there. There are some miscommunication errors on the website. It says that entry was over on the 2nd of Wednesday. Wednesday wasn't the 2nd, so there's obviously some issues there. The last day to sign up will be Wednesday this week.
Johnny said, restarting my 10-gallon tank after planaria breakout, is it worth it to have a 3-inch deep substrate or no?
The only reason why we go 3 inches on our substrate is for the plants. A lot of times we'll slope it so where there's only 1 inch in the front and then 3 inches in the back. But if there isn't any plants in the tank, we'll just use like 1 inch of substrate. That's more than enough to buffer for caridinas, or give the tank a nice filled out look that the shrimp aren't going to try and like lose color or anything like that from like gaps in the pigment or gaps in the substrate down to the glass to make them stress out or anything.
Megan Hill Design says we use neokeratinas to help raise our fry. That's smart. Bugsy said, how much of a difference does tank size make it over all breeding numbers?
So smaller than 10 gallons is a huge difference. After 10 gallons, I don't really see that much until you go into like really large bodies of water, like the tubs outside. I also don't know like if the size of the tubs is really helping that much because we have a trash can that's only 32 gallons. No, it's not 32 gallons because it's smaller than the brute. I think it's like 23 gallons at the most. It's probably smaller than that, and it breeds just as much red cherries as our IBC totes and our barrels and all that other stuff. So just them being outside, just them being in the warmer weather, underneath the sun, it really helps them take off. But underneath 10 gallons, just a 7.5 gallon tank, I see a reduce in size overall. I see a reduce in numbers of breeding that I would get in a 10-gallon tank. So definitely go bigger if you can. It helps with baby survival rate. So I don't see that much of a difference, but you might if you have an issue mixing your water and getting that dialed in and stuff like that.
Thank you so much, Plushy Aquatics, for becoming a YouTube member.
Welcome to the team. And if you haven't already, email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com, and we will, you got to send us your address, and we will send you a sticker and a code for 10% off our website, tgoeshrimp.com.
Johnny said, tap water TDS 43. How can I know what minerals you talked about?
So with 43 TDS, I wouldn't really use my tap water for anything. I would go through and use an RO unit and filter out whatever 43 total dissolved solids you have, whether it's GH or KH in the water, and I would start over fresh because you're not going to go through that many filters. You're not going to have that much wastewater with that low of TDS. So you might as well polish the water, clean it out, and then use either GH, KH minerals for neocaridina or the GH only minerals for caridina. And if you're doing Sulawase, you can use the Sulawase mix that we provide on the website.
Zach said, where are the painted white snowballs? Is that a thing yet?
No, and I don't think it really will be because the only really white part or white pigment to that shrimp is the eggs themselves. So the saddle, when they're unfertilized, and then when they become buried, they obviously take hold of the name snowballs because they look like that.
Coro said neocaridina are closer related to butterflies than they are to brine shrimp. That's insane. That'd be so cool if like
It's
you
weird.
could get a neocaridina to like, you know how like certain axolotls can, or was it salamanders? What can, you put in land and it changes to a different animal.
That'll be axolotls.
Certain
you can force
axolotls,
some
right?
more fun axolotls.
Yeah. That'd be cool if you could force some more fun shrimp and turn into like these crazy looking butterflies. Who's gonna do it? Someone's got to do it. Dr. Anthony says, I need purple shrimp. I actually just got a video sent to me the other day of purple shrimp, and it's a video of apparently purple neocaridina, and I want to believe that it's real, but I really just don't believe it's real. It looks super realistic, though, but AI is just coming way too far along.
Just pull it out and read it.
Coro said, Grant is the reason the dog is deaf. That's funny. I'm just going to hashtag loud Grant. I thought he was asking, was there a reason? I'm like, well, he's a white dog. That's typically a big thing, but that's funny.
I think this is the first time he has like not made a single sound the entire
It's because he was
stream.
freaking out when the kids kept going out front. So he was like, why am I not out there with you? Vibes Aquatics, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. Says, I'm back, eating and lurking. Hashtag can't wait to see y'all.
Can't wait to see you. I gotta ask, when will I be seeing you, Vibes, or anyone from the Dallas area for that reason? I haven't had anybody confirm that they are able to help us 100% on Thursday. So if you are listening and you are able to make it to the Dallas Market Hall on Thursday after 10 a.m., we do need some help setting up the shrimp contest. It's just putting tanks together, filling them up with water. Nothing really that serious. You won't be messing with any of the shrimp or anything like that. We just got to get the contest all set up, primed. We give the whole tank a day to kind of relax, settle in, let that water fully dissolve in there before we add any shrimp to it on Friday. And then on Saturday, the shrimp are judged. So we don't really need any help on Friday. The main help that we will need is on Thursday. I think on Friday we will have the Bloomfields there to help acclimate all the shrimp and get them into the water. They won't know whose shrimp are on the bags because you don't write your names on the bags. Only write your names on the box, write the categories on the bags of the shrimp, and that way we can get your shrimp into the contest incognito, and there won't be any bias judging. Not that there would be anyways, but we definitely want to make sure everybody has a fair and even chance. So that's why we have the rules set up. It may seem like we are, I don't know, very strict on our rule set, but it's just so everybody hits a fair chance.
Hagen Hill Design said, fish tattoo here has a fish tattoo. And says Katie has a flamingo tattoo. That is so cool. She should actually get like a little shrimp next to it because it makes them pink.
Get a shrimp in it.
That'd be so cute. That'd be so funny. Grant's only got one tattoo. I have 0. I'm very indecisive. So I know that it's not a smart idea to get a tattoo because I will not like it within a year probably.
I'll get a shrimp one day.
One day he's going to get a shrimp. But the problem is we've been trying to get people to draw us the shrimps, and then we get them drawn, and then it's not like a shrimp tattoo design. So I don't know. He's got a couple more before he wants to get a shrimp or anything like that. I wanted a jellyfish tattoo, but I was quoted for like $4,000 for the one I wanted, and I was like, you know what? That's a little extra. How about not? I would need it to be like $5. And then Dr. Anthony has a discus tattoo. If I ever was to breed a new fish, so your kiwi shrimp would be a good idea. If I was to ever breed like a new species of fish or shrimp, that would be fun.
I don't want to get one of my koi.
Yeah.
Koi have always been a big part of my life. So I know there's a lot of people out there with koi tattoos, but I'd like a koi of one that I bred and raised from a fry all the way up until a beast.
Kayla, member for 10 months. Thank you so much. Says 8 tanks so far this year, 2 to go. Killing it.
Yeah, very nice.
Love it. Crib Keeper said, I ate shrimp food, Shelby. Don't be ashamed to admit it. TGOE bee's knees tastes kind of sweet up front with a delicate vegetable floral finish.
The next time we're at the Clash, we need to do a bar for, what is it called with Rico? Narf for barf? What is
barf or snarf or barf? Oh goodness, barf or snarf?
I don't know, but we gotta get them to eat some shrimp foods.
That'd be fun.
Definitely the Mineral Junkie.
We'll just send them the sampler
and Bug
pack.
Pro for sure.
Just the Shrimp MV sampler pack.
Yeah, but like
a little of everything.
The
we'll just send them
Mineral
a
Junkie
little of everything.
And the Bug Pro are what we talk about eating the most.
Mineral Junkie, yeah. I never said that I want Bug Pro, but I said that it would be maybe okay on a steak. Like I would probably mistake it for like steak seasoning.
And one of these April Fool's days, if I'm making steak, you better watch out.
I'm gonna throw. I'm very sensitive too. Like I throw up at the slightest things. I got a strong stomach when it comes to like certain things, but eating, no, absolutely not. My body rejects it real fast. Have a good night, Hagen Hill. Thanks for joining us tonight. Nano says you can forward the domain, which I tried doing, but through BigCommerce, they don't offer that service. So I think through Google I can do it, but I have to have a Google account. Then I have to buy the domain through Google. I have to purchase both of them. Like, it's like a little extra cost. So it was strange the way I was talking. I kept going back and forth between Google Assistant and BigCommerce. It was not having, I gave up at a point. Because the one person was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll call back later. Maybe someone else will know what I'm talking about.
Fuck crows.
You have to sacrifice 1,000 shrimp to get Google Gods before you can get your webpage to redirect. So that would be cool if I could actually just have our, like, I don't know how to do that. I feel like some people have their website at the bottom. What is that? Some people do.
Ticker.
No, there's like that thing that like streams across. It shows your
ticker.
Oh.
I can tell you're not involved in the stock exchange.
Absolutely not. I was heavily relying on you since high school. I told you that you would be the one doing stocks and anything like that because I was not educated on that at all.
Yeah, I forgot.
And he was supposed to do that and he hasn't done it.
I invested your entire portfolio in Bed Bath & Beyond.
Someone did that though. You know that someone did that, and they had to have hurt after that. Oh, that's so sad.
I however invested mine all in GameStop, and I don't even need you anymore. I've just been, making your life miserable for enjoyment.
I couldn't believe that, honestly. Johnny said Raccoon and Stardust are neocaridina water perimeters.
Yeah, you could keep them in neocaridina parameters. One of my favorite stories, since we do have a minute, story time with TGOE.
We don't have a minute. Hurry up, faster.
Okay. So we used to breed self-cloning crawfish to feed our turtles. And, well, I used to take clumps of algae and whatever out of tanks if, I was trying to clean up. And I would just throw them into the tank with no light, no filter, and a bunch of crawfish because eventually it'll break down and the crawfish would eat it. Well, we had to tear down the tank because Jaden's room sprung a leak from the floor. And we had to move all of the stands out of there. I thought that there was like 1,000 little tiny baby crawfish running around on the floor that I was out to catch. Well, as I'm grabbing them all with the net, I'm noticing that they don't have claws. And then I'm noticing that they're actually just little tiny stardust. So with no filtration, no water changes, just top it off with water from leftover water changes and stuff like that, stacking minerals on minerals. These guys were able to breed by the thousands from whatever algae sawasatang they clung on and held on to. And I think raccoons would do just as fine and well in those same settings.
Uwu asked, will an orange eye tie bee be in the tie bee competition category or orange eye?
It should go in the orange eye category because that is where you're going to get the most points and stand the best chance to win, because you could enter it in both if you wanted to. It's really up to your choice, but it would kind of lose to some of the boas if they were all on point, same color, same pattern, and stuff like that. Because like the orange-eyed not red steels, the orange-eyed blue steels, even the white ones, like once you get them going, they're not that much harder to breed out than galaxy pintos, and boas are harder than that. So.
Only Oscar said, could you add a towel to your site? You always need a towel. We're going to have to think about that because for sure. That
Don't
would be
forget
great.
to bring a towel.
Can we make them look like towelly? We're definitely doing that.
Yeah.
Is there copyright? We got to find that.
I'd like
I'll just
to have
make the
some
white
towels.
ones with the blue stripes. We actually did go to a hotel one time, and that's what towels they had, were the white ones with the blue stripes on them, and I couldn't stop laughing at it. Cookkeeper said, I sent you a meme to help Grant pronounce that worm name. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. You gotta get it up. Oh,
It's called
no, don't you say it. Tim, he's trying to set you up.
Kamala Newsworms.
Oh man, there's even a worse joke I could go from that one. We can't say that one though. All right.
We got
Have a
5
good
more
night,
minutes
mate.
here,
Thank you.
guys. Well, couldn't make it the last 5 minutes. All right, it's okay. You're gonna have a good night.
That was a while ago. It was actually like 10 minutes ago that they left. Yeah, they were done. They were done with you in your monotone voice.
We know your limits, Nate.
Oh, I gotta download Discord again, so don't ask if I'm there. I'm not there.
Oh yeah, she'll got a new phone.
It's been. I didn't want all the crazy apps. My kids download an app like every time we go somewhere, so I had like over 400 apps. I was like, and it told me it was gonna take like 12 hours to transfer all of my data connected together. That's not even over Wi-Fi. And I was like, but if I went in and selected just my contacts and a couple other things, it would take like less than 40 minutes. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to download every app that I need again. It's been taking days too, because I've had a lot that I need for lights and Instagram, YouTube, all of those. I didn't realize how many apps I use. Johnny said, what Caridina parameters are compatible? What Caridina shrimps are compatible in Neo-Caridina water parameters?
So the only ones I really solidly recommend are tiger shrimp and yellow king kongs. Then Tang Thai and Thai bees, I have a lot of different customers who are breeding them in Neocaridina parameters, not having any issues. LRB is doing it. You can do it too.
Crip said, Grant at the Clash, during our stream time and in the room, we can go pellet for pellet who will eat the most variety of shrimp foods. Grant would
That's
lose
not
immediately.
something I want to win.
He would lose immediately. There would
How
have to
about
be like
this?
a prize.
You eat a pellet of shrimp food. I eat a scoop of ice cream that I don't necessarily like the flavor of. I think that's an equal.
Pickle ice cream. Get him pickle ice cream. He absolutely hates it.
Why? Why would you do this to me, Shelby?
Because that's not fair. If someone's eating actually nasty stuff, you're going to eat something you don't like.
I was going to at
It's his
least go
favorite.
pistachio. Like, I can't stand pistachio.
Yeah, but he can tolerate it. He can't tolerate pickle.
Slide that one off the table. Oh, yum, yum, yum. Let me just clean that off.
Johnny Vest, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. And then Hareem said, I got a shark tattoo. That's pretty cool. I feel like Jaden's going to get one. Like, as soon as he hits his teenager years, we're going to have to, like, argue. And I don't want to come home to Daddy had signed it and said that he can go get a tattoo. I feel like my mother, because, like, our daughter's been asking for more ear piercings, and I'm over here like, absolutely not. Grant's like, what's wrong with it?
I didn't know.
It's so funny to me.
I didn't have a sister.
I feel so old. Like,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I guess you weren't asking your mom to get your ears pierced. So. I have a Spawn tattoo. Now, is that a picture? Is that a tattoo of your child? Crib said, why, Shelby? How can you pronounce? I cannot. What?
Spawn, the movie.
I don't know what that is, honestly. I think that's the first video game. I really don't know.
I don't think it's a game necessarily. I know it's
We're going to look it up if it's a video game. That's crazy. I know like almost all video games, or at least have heard of them. Almost 10 minutes behind in chat. Slow down, Grant. You're talking too fast. Need a bingo square. Have you ever fed a frozen shrimp to your shrimp? Nope. Absolutely not. We don't really like using frozen foods at all because we've had that experience.
It's a Marvel character.
Well, that's cool. Why haven't they made that show yet? That character looks so cool. Homemade shrimp and ice cream it is. Oh, that's so gross. Scotch bonnet ice cream. That sounds gross. I don't know why, but I don't know what that is. That sounds awesome.
Scotch bonnet is a pepper. It's going to be very spicy.
Bugsy said, Shelby, what is your favorite ice cream? Right. I think the one that's like the best for me, because I am lactose intolerant, so things have definitely been really bad, especially when you live with someone who
Lactose
gets
intolerant
ice cream. Yeah, it's certain ones, and they make me really sick when they make me sick. Like 2 bites in can make me sick. But Papa Clyde's has a peanut butter fudge, so it's chocolate fudge ice cream with peanut butter throughout it, and it's super good because like you really get like chunks of peanut butter. It is to die for, and it's like the best peanut butter chocolate ice cream I've ever had in my life. And no matter where I go to eat peanut butter chocolate ice cream, it doesn't even come close to how good it is. And Mike said, are you guys fighting over the bad hair day comment immediately after the stream? For sure. I'm going to cry a little, make him feel really bad. Spawn the movie. There's a movie? We're going to have to watch that. It's probably not on any of the platforms we can watch. Passing wins. Pickle ice cream with sardines. I feel like that's something you can get Rico to eat, but Grant would absolutely... He would just like hit the dish and be like, "Oh, sorry."
If I order a Caesar salad and you put sardines on it and then took the sardines off of it, couldn't do it.
Crip said, stream idea, quiz show with your mods. Grant and Shelby are the host. That would be cool. Can we need to get like little podiums and just be like this and like real professional. All right. Who wants to be a millionaire? Shrimp edition.
Winner gets to hide something in your hair, and then somebody else can find it at Aquashella.
Ashley said, here's a test, Shelby. Ever heard of Immortals Phoenix Rising? Such an awesome game. Also, what's your favorite video game? I'm now, people are probably going to pull these out of the woodwork. This is probably actually pretty popular, but no, I haven't heard of this one. I haven't played games as much as I used to. I actually have to stay off of them because, like, we really have, like, an addiction to video games. Like, you just don't want to put it down. And it's like, oh, just one more game. Currently, my favorite game has been Warframe just because I haven't done a lot of quests and stuff. But overall, favorite game in the world is probably always going to be Halo. Like, I could play that all the time, but haven't in a long time, but what's my favorite game?
All right, last one.
Says, are orange-eyed tigers acceptable in that list to keep with Neos?
Yeah, all tigers except for fancy tigers. Like, technically, fancy tiger is a tybee. It's not a tiger shrimp. So all of like the wild type tiger shrimp that do not have bee genetics can take neocaridina parameters. The only caridina that actually need the softer water are the ones with the bee genetics. So, all right. Great stream. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. And
we're talking about video games now. We could talk about ice cream for 2 hours after the stream.
See, I'm just going to end this right now because tomorrow, when I sleep in and got a lot of stuff, and then I stay up extra late tomorrow night, you're going to be like, da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to be like, well, you wanted to talk for an extra 2 minutes about video games on the stream. So...
But Zelda was great, I would say.
Zelda was crap. I don't know what you're trying to say.
Love the older Zelda. Have a good night. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night, guys. I'm just kidding. Zelda wasn't crap. I always use Link when I play Super Smash Bros. See you guys.